war ended on a Tuesday. James Crawford stepped off the train in Columbus, Ohio. His mother was crying. His father shook his hand. The neighbors came out to wave. He was home. He was safe. The war was over. 22 years later, on a Tuesday just like that one, another veteran sat alone in his garage. The engine was running. The door was closed. He had survived Iwo Jima. He had survived 2 years of island warfare. He came home without a scratch. And then he died in his garage on a Tuesday. 22 veterans kill themselves every day in the United States. Not during the war. After. When they are home. When they are safe. This is the story of why. Daniel was 24 years old when he returned from the Pacific. He had been a machine gunner. He had seen things that no training could prepare him for. He had done things he would never speak about. His mother picked him up at the station. She barely recognized him. He was thinner, quieter. His eyes looked through her, not at her. For the first 2 weeks, he ate what she cooked. He slept in his old bed. He sat on the porch and watched the street. Everyone said he was doing well. He was adjusting. He was healing. He was not healing. Daniel stopped eating in the 3rd week. Not dramatically. He just lost interest. Food became something he pushed around his plate. His mother asked if he was sick. He said he was fine. He stopped leaving the house in the 4th week. Then he stopped leaving his bedroom. Then he stopped leaving his bed. His mother called a doctor. The doctor said there was nothing physically wrong. He recommended a psychiatrist. Daniel refused to go. He's just tired, his mother told herself. He needs rest. Daniel rested and rested. And one morning, his mother brought him breakfast and found him still in bed. His eyes were open. He was not asleep. He had simply stopped. The doctors called it failure to thrive, a term usually used for infants, babies who stop growing, babies who seem to have lost the will to live. Daniel was 24 years old. He had survived the worst war in human history. And then he died on his mother's sofa because his brain had run out. 22. That is the number of veterans who kill themselves every day in the United States. Not per week, not per month, per day. 22 men and women who survived combat, who survived deployment, who came home, and then decided that home was worse than the war. The answer is not simple, but it starts with this. The brain that learns to survive combat does not automatically learn how to survive peace. During war, every sense is heightened. Every sound matters. Every shadow could hide death. The soldier's brain is running at full speed, constantly scanning, constantly preparing. It is exhausting, but it is also purposeful. Everything you do matters. After war, the threat disappears. The guns are silent. The danger is gone. But the brain does not know that. The alarms do not turn off. The hypervigilance does not stop. The soldier comes home and cannot sleep, cannot relax, cannot sit with his back to a door. A car backfires and he hits the ground. A door slams and his heart races. His family calls it overreacting. His body calls it survival. And after years of this, after decades of waiting for the alarm to stop, some soldiers reach a conclusion that makes sense to their broken brains. If the war never ends inside my head, then I am still at war. And if I am still at war, there is only one way to stop fighting. Here is what civilians do not understand about veterans. The problem is not always the trauma. Sometimes the problem is the absence of trauma. James Crawford did not have nightmares about the war. He had dreams about the war. Good dreams. Dreams where everything made sense, where he knew exactly what to do, where the men beside him were his brothers. He woke up from those dreams and felt something worse than fear. He felt disappointment because the real world, the safe world, the quiet world, felt like nothing. Psychologists call this the contrast effect. The brain measures its current state against what it has experienced before. When what you have experienced before is extreme, everything else feels flat. For a soldier who has survived combat, the grocery store is not a challenge. It is a boredom. The office job is not a mission. It is a joke. The family dinner is not a bonding experience. It is a performance. The veteran looks around and thinks, this is what I survived for. This silence, this routine, this emptiness. And that question, asked every day for years, is heavier than any backpack they carried in combat. Some veterans find ways to answer it. They build new missions, new purposes, new families. They learn to translate the skills of war into the skills of peace. Others do not. Others sit in their garages on Tuesday mornings and start the engine. There is another layer to this, something that makes everything worse. The military trains soldiers to be strong, to be self-reliant, to never show weakness. A soldier who breaks down is a danger to his unit. A soldier who cannot carry his weight gets someone killed. That training saves lives in combat, but it kills lives after combat. Because when the veteran comes home and his brain is falling apart, he does not know how to ask for help. Asking for help feels like failure. Admitting that he cannot sleep, cannot feel, cannot function, feels like betraying everything he was taught. So he stays silent. He smiles at family dinners. He says he is fine. He goes to work. He pays his bills. He does everything he is supposed to do. And then he goes home, sits alone in the dark, and wonders what the point is. The VA knows about this. The Department of Defense knows about this. Every veteran service organization knows about this. They have programs. They have hotlines. They have therapists. But you cannot help a man who will not say the words. And many veterans will not say the words. Because saying the words means admitting that the war broke something. And admitting that the war broke something feels like admitting that you were not strong enough. Daniel never said the words. He never called the hotline. He never sat in a therapist's chair. He just faded, slower and slower, until one morning he was gone. Not everyone stays silent. Some veterans do call. Some do sit in the chair. Some do say the words. Michael was a sniper in Afghanistan. He had killed more men than he could count. He came home, and the faces followed him. Not every night, just often enough. He called the VA on a Wednesday. He was crying. He could not stop crying. He told the operator that he did not want to die. He just wanted the faces to stop. The operator stayed on the line with him for an hour. She told him to breathe. She told him he was not alone. She told him that asking for help was not weakness. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. Michael is alive today. He goes to therapy twice a month. He takes medication. He still has bad days, but he has good days too. And on the good days, he calls other veterans. He tells them his story. He tells them that the call saved his life. He takes medication. He still has bad days, but he has good days too. And on the good days, he calls other veterans. He tells them his story. He tells them that the call saved his life. Michael is one of the lucky ones. Not because he got help, because he was able to ask for it. The difference between Michael and Daniel was not courage. It was not strength. It was not the severity of their trauma. was a phone call. One phone call. Daniel never made. Here is what science knows about healing the brain after combat. The brain is not a machine. It does not break all at once, and it does not heal all at once, but it can heal. The first thing the brain needs is safety, not just physical safety. The brain already knows it is physically safe. It needs to feel safe. That is different. It needs to stop scanning. It needs to lower the alarms. This takes time, sometimes years, sometimes decades, but it can happen. The second thing the brain needs is connection. Other people, people who understand, people who do not need explanations, other veterans, a spouse who does not run away, a therapist who is not afraid of the dark. Daniel had none of that. He came home to an empty apartment. His father was dead. His mother was distant. He had no brothers in arms nearby. He was alone, and a brain that is alone in its suffering will eventually turn against itself. The third thing the brain needs is purpose, a reason to get out of bed, a mission. It does not have to be a big mission. It can be small, walking the dog, calling a friend, going to therapy, one small mission at a time. James survived because he found purpose. He went to work. He raised his children. He showed up. Not because he felt like it, because he had made a promise to himself. He would not become Daniel. He would not fade. The war does not end when the soldier comes home. It ends when the brain finally believes it is safe. For some, that happens quickly. For others, it never happens at all. The 22 veterans who kill themselves every day are not weak. They are not cowards. They are not failures. They are human beings whose brains were pushed past their limits, who came home and found that the silence was louder than the guns, who could not find a reason to stay. Daniel died in 1947. He was one of the first. He will not be the last. But here is what we know. Most veterans do not kill themselves. Most veterans find a way, not because they are stronger, because they are luckier, because they found a mission, because their brain, for reasons no one fully understands, was able to heal enough to keep going. James survived, not because he was brave, because he was held by a mother who cooked his favorite meals, by a wife who put her hand on his chest at 2 a.m., by children who needed him to show up. He survived because other people refused to let him fade. That is the secret no one tells you about veteran suicide. It is not just about the veteran. It is about the people around them, the ones who stay, the ones who call, the ones who do not give up. Daniel had no one. James did. That is the difference. And that difference is the difference between life and death. 22 veterans kill themselves every day. That number has not changed much in years. It is a national scandal, and it is also a national failure. But here is the thing about numbers. They are not statistics. They are men and women, sons and daughters, fathers and mothers. They are people who survived the worst that humanity has to offer, only to be defeated by the silence afterward. Daniel was one of them. He does not have a medal. He does not have a monument. He has a grave in a small cemetery in Ohio that no one visits anymore. James visits sometimes. He stands in front of the stone. He does not say anything. There is nothing to say. He just stands there, remembering the sound of Daniel crying through the thin wall, remembering the silence that followed. James is old now. He will not live forever. But before he goes, he has something to say to anyone who will listen. If you are a veteran and you are reading this, or watching this, or listening to this, do not become Daniel. Make the call. Say the words. Ask for help. It is not weakness. It is the hardest thing you will ever do. And if you know a veteran, call them. Not next week, today. Ask them how they are really doing. Do not accept fine as an answer. Sit with them. Stay with them. Do not let them fade. 22 every day. That is 22 too many. The war ended for Daniel on a Tuesday, not in 1945. Years later, alone, in a garage, with an engine running and a door closed. He survived Iwo Jima. He survived Okinawa. He survived 2 years of island warfare. And then he died at home because no one knew how to save him. And he did not know how to ask. 22 veterans killed themselves every day, not during the war, after, when they are home, when they are safe. This is the part of war no one talks about. The silence afterward, the loneliness, the brain that cannot stop fighting, the soldier who survives everything and then cannot survive peace. This is war inside the head, from mind under fire. Every episode tracks what combat does to the brain, not the explosions, the silence afterward, not the trauma, the transformation. Next episode, he got a medal for bravery. Then he killed himself. The medal that killed him. If this stayed with you, hit subscribe, because some wars never end.